I'm on. Yeah, I'm on. Okay, good evening everyone. This is about the future, but I've no robot sex or teledildonics. I'm afraid. And apologies to those that have heard me do this before. Fortunately, it only lasts 5 minutes tonight. It's normally about 25, so a bit quicker tonight. This is about our future. This is about the digital human. It's not about nuns with laptops, but what a great picture. This is really where we start thinking about the different trends that are happening out there about technology. Oh, good, here we go. Technology. And how it affects us. And interesting to think how we exist increasingly in a device mesh. In an era where we have got almost perfect knowledge, a few years away from the trillion device economy. So imagine thinking of a situation where you get the answer to any question on your mind. What might that mean for us in the workplace? Nice to think about flexible, distributed organisations, but what about different kinds of organisations that could only exist because of some of the technology that we are seeing emerge? What about the exponential organisation? So we've all heard of Moore's law, and we're pretty familiar with things getting faster every 18 months or so and half the price every 18 months or so. But there are some technologies out there driving companies that are running much faster than that and much hotter than that. Look how cheap 3D printing is, just as an example, has come down in price in only a few years. 400 times cheaper now to buy a 3D printer, revolutionising industrialisation across the world. Even more important, look at this, 10,000 times cheaper in only 7 years to sequence the DNA of an individual. Imagine the implications for all of us, for all our health, moving forward. What an opportunity. Also in the organisation, we're very familiar, increasingly familiar with the gig economy. Many of the people in here today are probably working on a freelance basis and running a few different opportunities at once. And this sort of Uberization of labour is good in some respects, but a bit of a challenge, because those organisations who think it's a great opportunity to wheel and deal people on 0 hours contracts are suddenly finding they're having to put layers of bureaucracy back in because knowledge, innovation and loyalty have walked out with the people that they've let go. So thinking even more broadly, the connected planet, crowding, aging, more connected and more fluid. What are some of the trends and themes that we're seeing happening at a global level? So first of all, we've got the rise of this character, the nextpat. We're familiar with expats, the ones that move for financial and tax reasons. They're all whining about which way they're going to vote about Brexit at the moment. This is different. This is the nextpat, someone who's very, very comfortable with being an internationalist, running organisations from wherever they are around the globe. Another theme is going global. Global trends, really, really key, but customising them and personalising them for a local market is key. So in India, Uber is in auto rickshaws and payable by cash. Data and analytics, a subject so dull they had to invent visualisation so people could colour in while they were waiting for it to happen. But nevertheless, key for all of our futures, particularly as it begins to predict and prescribe exactly what the next best action. Who are these guys? Nasal rangers. We've all heard about smart cities. These guys are creating maps for our smartphones and devices that are based on the nicest smelling route round town. Pretty cool. Ubiquitous interaction is how the devices are changing, and it's back to that device mesh again. Increasingly, we are interacting with computers in many, many different ways, not just about the smartphone, not just always about being mobile. But you could argue that the mobile has changed everything, but look at all these pre-mobile people looking at rectangular newspapers. Maybe mobile has changed nothing. Either way, we are all looking at our phones over 200 times a day, and that figure is increasing. But so is the opportunity of no interface at all. Speech, gesture, foot pedals in cars that vibrate when you change from petrol power to electricity, or watches that vibrate as well to give us all sorts of information and notifications. Gesture, touch and sight. But brain power, we see lots of news stories about people with robotic arms and limbs and eyes and sight restored, having never been able to see, through these terrific advances connecting our minds and also connecting back to that Human Genome Project. Last section is about distributed disruption. Things like Uber, yeah. Things about Airbnb, cutting out the middleman, disintermediation, but truly about blockchain. A challenging, fascinating technology we hear a lot about, but can't explain. If only someone was on the bill tonight that might help us understand that. But in closing, what I'd like to do is come back to Peticulture, and as well as telling you about those 6 themes, start telling some of the stories that happen on the intersections in between. Thank you. I've been Tim Difford.